Hello, magic makers, and welcome back to the Metaphysical Apothecary. We are your hosts, Megan and Shannon. We are also known as the Scorpio Sisters, and we are here to explore the mysterious, magical, and the arcane. One of the things that a lot of us get locked into are directional associations. Specific directions on the compass are normally associated with specific element and a specific season, where you have north being associated with earth and winter, east with air and spring, south with fire and summer, and west with water and autumn. That doesn't jive with me.
No, it does not. For me, I do not place Earth in the north. If you've read one of our recent blog articles, I break down how I actually do associate my elements and my directions, how they're very two separate wheels in my practice. And so when I sit down to cast a circle, whether it's a meditation circle, a ritual circle, a working circle, a spell working circle, whatever it is, I take into consideration where the elements are in my physical presence. If I'm in a place where to the north of me there is a bonfire, or to the north of me there is a lake or a river, or there's cliffs or forest, I will change what guardian element is to the north. And so I never really pin down which element goes where. I allow them to dictate to me where they want to sit in my circle. My instinctive correspondences and associations in that moment of casting will change and allow for my working to be more personal and more powerful and empowering because of it. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the elemental associations. I do not associate winter with earth. I think that all elements are present in all seasons, period. But the primary element I associate with winter is air, because it's cold, it's windy, and I also associate icicles with air, because they are frozen, and they are hanging in midair, and they are cold. And sometimes they kind of make this pretty chinking sound that I also associate with air.
Wind chimes.
I also associate winter with air because of how crisp and clear the sky is. It's almost in high definition without having any kind of heavy humidity in between. Mm-hmm. Earth in winter doesn't resonate with me because everything that it has to do with earth is almost always sleeping in winter. It's hibernating. Winter's being forced to the north because it's colder there, because it's the North Pole. Also does not work if you're in the southern hemisphere, because to the north is the equator. Uh-huh. The coldest part of your geological area is to the south. Megan, I think, associates winter with primarily water.
Yes. So for me, winter is a very watery time. So before Artemis stepped into my pantheon as the huntress, I worked with Scotty a lot, and I do have several other very cold weather deities on my pantheon. I'm a cold weather water baby. So for me, winter always evokes the idea of there being frozen water everywhere, ice, snow, icicles, as Shannon was talking about, but sometimes it gets warm enough for those to drip. And then you have the black, cold, clear, clean water racing underneath the ice. You have the ocean that's making all kinds of interesting ice formations. Water energy, and a lot of it is very still, which is an aspect of water that I don't get to interact with very often, so when it comes around I jump at the chance.
So spring is associated with air, traditionally speaking, and again, that's not wrong, it just doesn't resonate with me, especially since we have new growth. We have seeds sprouting up and pushing through the snow. We have baby animals having just been born, stumbling around in the forest or in the fields. We have insects coming up and waking up again. And for me, that is very much indicative of Earth. It's Earth reestablishing her patterns, her wakefulness, her growing season, her living status, not her sleeping status.
Yep. I also associate spring with Earth because the Earth is awakening, it's softening, it's, as Shannon was talking about, the baby animals are beginning to run around on the Earth. That includes human babies. That's when seeds are dropping to the ground. So much mud everywhere in the spring. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. That's when you see worms and night crawlers start to aerate the soil. So summer is traditionally associated with fire, and that happens to resonate with me. I definitely associate summer with fire. There's obviously the blazing heat of the sun. The plants, which I associate with spirit, are warming themselves in the sun. Their growth is accelerating. Seeds are forming inside of them. You've got the fruits with the seeds inside of them, and all of that is indicative of the warmth and the heat of reproduction. Plus, if you've ever been on the beach in the summer, you will experience fire on your feet while you're trying to get to the water. But also, summer is a time for bonfires and lots of cooking outdoors. You're lighting up the night when it finally gets there. You've got fireflies coming up out of the grass, just all of those sorts of things. My favorite times in summer are the night when the sun finally sets and you can light that bonfire and see the light from it. And as I was talking about, see the light from the fireflies rising. And if the skies are clear, the stars are bright.
I associate summer with water. You're looking to get into the water partially, but also because there's a lot of hurricanes that start in the summer. Then you have a lot of thunderstorms that happen in the summer. And in the Northeast, especially, you're breathing water. There's so much humidity in the air. There's so much water in the air. You're breathing it in. So for me, water resonates in summer because of how present it is, both in the actual physiological process of breathing, in the weather, and also in our minds as we try to relieve ourselves from the heat. We're thinking about going to the beach, going to the cold water. We're thinking about going to the cold lake to dip in, get to the cold streams, into the cold rivers, go fishing, go boating, go rafting. So many of our summer activities happen to revolve around water that, to me, water is the dominant element for the summer because of how much I, in particular, want to go swimming. I just want to be in the cold pool or the cold water to get away from that fire. So fire is definitely a second element that I associate with it, but the first one, the one that's on my mind as soon as summer starts happening, is water.
Right. If any of you do have associations that you're just now realizing as we're talking, or you've long held on to, let us know. Let us know in the comments. Let us know on social media. We're very interested in what you have to say. So I associate autumn with air because in autumn, I think of the cool, crisp wind starting to blow in preparation for winter blowing in. You've got a lot of different kinds of storms in autumn. You've got thunderstorms, you've got rainstorms, and usually they come with high winds. The wind blows the drying leaves around, whether it's on the ground or on the trees themselves, and makes that rattling sound. The same with other kinds of dried plants that are getting ready to drop their seeds to be covered in a blanket of snow. They're rattling and the wind releases them. It pushes them down onto the earth so that they can get ready to grow in the spring. And autumn is also generally a time when a lot of us are starting to prepare to spend a lot of time indoors for reasons of survival so that we can remain healthy. So that's a time when a lot of us start to hunker down with the books, with new things to learn. We teach ourselves a new skill like knitting or cooking, and a lot of people are also going back to school during this time. It's a time to really feed your intellect and learn new things if that's something that you enjoy doing.
I associate autumn with fire. My family always made bonfires and campfires in the autumn. Whenever we went out anywhere during the autumn, we would try to see if we couldn't set up a campfire, roast some hot dogs, maybe set up a campfire grill and grill hamburgers, pop popcorn, and make s'mores during the autumn. And so we really focused on our fire during the autumn. Plus, you have all those beautiful fiery colors as the leaves turn colors. They turn red, they turn orange, they turn yellow. And it was just vibrant and colorful. Plus, it is starting to get colder, like Megan said. And we would then put on fires, whether it was just an image of a fire so that we had a psychological trick to think that you were getting warmer, or you would put the heat up and put on more layers. There was just a lot more activity to warming and going towards fire in autumn. So your associations don't have to be different than the traditional associations, but if they are, there are reasons for them being that way, and there's usually very little reason to fight those correspondences, those personal individual correspondences and associations. There's very little reason to go against yourself.
Exactly. It can also teach you a lot about yourself, especially if you're looking at the rhythms of the elements and the seasons and even the sabbats. You can learn a lot about your own personal nature and your own personal rhythms by seeing what resonates with you from those traditions and what doesn't. For instance, if the 8 traditional sabbat that the pagan community often acknowledges and observes don't resonate with you, don't celebrate them. And there are probably other moments throughout the year that are much more special to you and your journey.
That's all we have on the topic for today. Thank you so much for listening in, and we hope you'll join us again next time. In the meantime, you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest, and go to our blog for some more witchy wisdom, as well as check out some of our original art on Society 6 for sacred decor and more. Thank you again for joining us, and go make some magic and live your best life. Bye.
Bye, everyone.